This video is sponsored by Opera.
Ah!
So hear me out. A typical microwave oven is about 1,000 watts. Well, I'm wondering what kind of fun could be had with an oven that's 20 times stronger. Now, I'm sure many of you have wondered this as well. But if not, there are a few things that a 20,000 watt microwave would accomplish. Now, the obvious one is cooking food faster. I mean, in this day and age, I shouldn't have to wait minutes to cook a Hot Pocket. Oh no, this should take seconds. Microwave experiments should be 20 times more exciting as well. I mean, even an oven like this is capable of some cool tricks. So I'm hoping that throwing obscene powers at these classic demos will give some fun surprises.
What the?
And this brings up my last point. The plasmas that could be made would be hellish. Like seriously, if you thought plasmas in a normal oven were cool, imagine the kind of witchcraft that you could pull off at extreme power. Is there anything that it wouldn't melt? There's only one way to find out. Let's build a 20,000 watt microwave. So.
Why? I don't know, man. I'm good.
How do you get 20,000 watts out of a microwave oven?
What?
Well, you only need to upgrade 2 components. Let me open one of these up and show you what I mean. Now I gotta say it, the power supply in a microwave oven is lethal. In fact, when science hobbyists get killed by their projects, more often than not, it's because they were screwing around with microwave parts like these. Anyway, this right here is what generates the microwave radiation in an oven. It's called a magnetron. Now interestingly, this is actually a vacuum tube, which means unlike phones, TVs, and radios, the main technology in microwaves is the same as it was 70 years ago. Pretty cool, right? So can you just dump more power into this magnetron and get more power out? Well, you can, but only to a point. I've actually tried this, but I only got to a few thousand watts before it blew up. So this method won't get me to 20 kilowatts. I simply need a bigger magnetron. Now unfortunately, even though oven magnetrons are a dime a dozen, big ones are really hard to come by.
You just sold
In fact,
the fire?
I've been waiting for years to make a video like this, but I simply couldn't find a big magnetron. However, my luck finally changed. Enter the Megatron. This water-cooled beast is rated for 16,000 watts of drive power,
Where did he
and I
get
plan
that?
on pushing it to 20. It's actually kind of funny that I'm even allowed to own this. Now there's a bit of lore to
Where
how
did you
I
buy
obtained
this?
beast. It was an eBay purchase, but it was not me that found the listing. It was the notorious Discord entity Charizard Wrecked.
What?
Not me that found the listing. It was the
What the fuck is come and go? What the fuck is come and go? What the? What gas station is this? Oh my god!
notorious Discord entity Charizard Wrecked that tipped me off to some monster magnetrons being sold as heat exchangers. I bought a few, and although one came DOA, 2 were still functional. I was salty about the dead unit, but then a scorpion jumped out of the package, which I thought was a pretty cool consolation prize. Since I don't know anything about scorpions, I asked Arya to identify it and tell me what it eats, as well as help convince
Why does that scorpion glow under black light? What the fuck?
me to keep it as a pet. Arya is the built-in AI that's unique to
Ah!
Anyway, what do I do with this now? So can I just jam this thing in there and call it a day? Well,
Wait, all scorpions glow under black light? Really? Cool.
there's one problem with that. It don't fit. I could have just built a bigger waveguide, but I thought back to some of the oldest microwaves that I took apart over the years. And I remembered that some of the oldest ones had big waveguides inside of them. So I picked up this old radar range microwave from the 70s, and I just love how it looks. But to be honest, it's also just built like a tank. Like
That microwave. Guys, that microwave looks fake. It doesn't even look real.
they don't make microwaves like they used to. Gosh, this thing weighs like
Microwave?
80 or 90 pounds, I think. So it's a real beast. The huge magnetron fits perfectly inside the oven, but it brings up another issue. how am I gonna power it? I need 20 times more power than this thing can provide. So perhaps I can take apart 20 microwaves, chain together the transformers, and power it that way? Nope, that sounds horrible. I have a better solution in mind.
What?
I bought this cute distribution transformer that'll be perfect for the job. Now it is technically a bit undersized for the load, but for short runs, it'll be fine. Alright, it's all wired up now. Let's fire this beast up.
What the fuck?
Now before I stick anything crazy in there,
What
I just
the
want to try
fuck?
boiling some water to make sure it
This guy's crazy!
actually works. Now I will admit that running this thing isn't quite as straightforward as running a household oven. So let me show you the startup sequence. Now, you do have to close the door because there's no safety interlock to prevent you from cooking the room if you leave it open. So I'm going to start by firing up this water pump
I had
here.
that exact model microwave growing up.
So next, I'm going to go here
Whoa.
and fire up the magnetron filament. Next, I'm going to hit this switch here, which energizes that boosting auto transformer, which then feeds my Variac. And now, I'm going to take my Variac and crank it all the way to 100.
What the hell?
And this switch right here is what finally powers it up. So, let's
Is
boil
this
some
I
water.
did a thing's wacky younger brother?
A typical microwave oven takes nearly 2 minutes to bring a cup of water to its boiling point. This one goes beyond that in seconds. Yes, water actually explodes because it superheats faster than it can boil. If water explodes in there, imagine what'll happen to things you aren't supposed to microwave. I'm sure you're dying to see how fast food will cook in that thing. But the fact that it makes water explode means I gotta try some of the classic microwave experiments first. So, let's see what it does to a light bulb.
No!
What could possibly go wrong? All right. Here we go.
He's too excited. He's too excited. Help! Help!
Wow. It's just instantaneous. Oh my
God.
gosh.
He's crazy!
Oh, that's hilarious. Look at that. It just turned it into
It's not even... It's like... It's fucking dust particles. What the fuck?
dust. Oh, that is so funny. Jeez. By comparison,
created a
when I
weapon.
tried this in a normal oven, it took nearly 10 seconds to melt through, and it didn't even come close to exploding. Is it a good idea to microwave an egg?
Roro.
Let's find out. All right, here we go. Oh my goodness. I tried an egg in a normal oven as well, and it took over 30 seconds to pop and wasn't nearly as violent.
Whoa.
I'm curious what'll happen to a plasma globe inside this thing.
A plasma globe?
All right. Why do I even do this kind of stuff?
Whoa.
This guy has to be on the FBI watch list after he posted this video.
That was so loud. Oh my gosh. Wow. That was crazy. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. It's just like powder.
Okay, he's having
Oh,
way
you
too much
gotta
fun.
see
This is very concerning.
That was reduced into dust. Into just dust.
This guy is
There's like those pieces are so tiny. That's crazy. That actually exploded so violently that bits of glass shot holes in the mica waveguide cover. Yikes. Now speaking of plasma, the metallic coating on this chip bag should be pretty interesting. Let's activate the shrink ray.
Oh my god!
Instantly. A lit candle can be crazy in a normal oven, so I figured it'd be worth trying in this thing as well.
A lit candle? Who thinks of these things? I've never in my life ever thought about putting a lit candle in a microwave. Like, what the What are these
This guy is
things that
just the
people are
Riz
thinking?
emote version of Michael Reeves.
He's the Riz emote version of Michael Reeves. What? Bro, I've never in my life thought about putting any of this shit in the microwave.
A funny side effect of all that plasma is that it turns the air in there into deadly nitrogen dioxide gas, which gives it that brown...
I'm sorry. Did he just make fucking... What? Guys, sorry. I just made deadly gas.
color. Now, if you're wondering how I'm filming inside the oven, I just have a hole drilled in the cavity there. And then, over here, I just have a cell phone that's just taped to the walls there. Now this works because the hole is pretty small relative to the microwave wavelength, so it doesn't let much radiation out. Now I'm not the first YouTuber to use this technique. I think Cody's Lab was the first to do it on YouTube. But then Nile Red has a good video on microwave plasmas that uses this. And then Steve Mold actually has a whole video about, filming inside a microwave. Anyway, I think it's time we cook some actual food in this thing. And it's funny because after years of doing everything with a microwave...
This guy terrifies me. He scares me
that you're not
so
supposed
much.
to...
He's like the scary version of fucking Niles. Ugh. He's the scary Niles Red.
I'm finally going to come full circle and use a microwave oven to simply heat some food. Let's start
What
with
else is he gonna do? The video's not even halfway finished. What else is he gonna
the Hot
do?
Pocket.
What
The
else is
instructions
he
say
gonna
it needs
do?
to cook for
He's the
nearly
guy
3
in the
minutes
movie
in a
who's the
puny
first
home oven.
sign that there's something
hoping this
wrong with the
Macrowave
idyllic
will cook it
suburb the
faster.
victims just moved into.
Oh my god.
Well, it didn't explode, but I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
He's sad.
Alright, let's take a look. Oh yeah.
Why does this guy
Looks
give off
done.
the vibe that he's the Patrick
Oh, yeah, it
Bateman of
feels done, too.
microwaves and electronics?
Well, there's your 10-second Hot Pocket. Now, the most surprising part about this is that it cooked evenly, because I know this oven has some hot spots. I wonder how quickly a hot dog will cook in this thing.
Holy shit.
I was kind of hoping it would explode, but at least it was cooked in seconds.
Why does he get so disappointed when it doesn't explode? What the fuck? My wiener! He's so sad.
I actually left it in there way too long, judging by what it looks like afterwards.
My wiener! He left
I
his
chucked a
wiener into
potato in there without stabbing any holes in it, also with the hope that it would explode. But
just
unfortunately, it simply flash cooked like it was supposed to. It did make some funny whistling sounds, though. In fact, a lot of foods make that funny whistle, and pickles turned out to be one of the best noisemakers.
Oh my god, it's screaming in agony. The poor pickle.
Let's test another microwave food classic, popcorn.
Oh my god, how fast is it gonna cook the
This one was actually kind of disappointing, because it took 30 seconds to pop fully. Now this is several times faster than a normal oven, but I was hoping it'd be instantaneous. At least it didn't burn though.
Whoa!
Now it's time for everybody's favorite food to microwave, the grape. And you know what? let me go ahead.
I hope he didn't eat that shit, though. Like, I wouldn't eat anything that comes out of that microwave after, like, him exploding all that, like, a candle and a fucking light bulb. Like, I wouldn't eat shit in there.
And cut it almost in half, just to make sure, you know, it heats nice and evenly, you know? Like this. And yeet.
Ah! Wait, hold on a second. What the fuck? Is that what happens if you microwave a grape? Why do grapes do that? Grape plasma?
Unfortunately, the fragrant smell of roasted grape is hidden by the suffocating nitrogen dioxide fumes, which is the deadly brown gas left in the beaker there. Instead of
I want to know what the fuck he's doing with all that deadly brown gas.
cutting a grape in half, I just tossed in some unmodified grapes to see if I get the same result.
It's a fucking fire tornado in there.
Yep, grapes are haunted. These grape plasmas are incredibly bright, but of particular interest is their color. They glow white and even have bits of blue coming through. I'm wondering if they're being heated beyond white hot to blue hot. The big brain way to answer this question would be to take a UV visible spectrum, fit it to the Planck radiation law, and determine the temperature that way. But you know what? That doesn't sound nearly as fun as chucking a bunch of metal in there and seeing what kind of hell is unleashed. So yeah, let's do that.
No, don't.
Let's see if the Macrowave can melt magnesium ribbon, or at least see what kind of plasma it'll make.
Magnesium ribbon?
Not only did it melt and burn in there, but it also managed to show off some of its green spectral colors, which is in contrast to the white you get by simply burning it in air. Aluminum melts at only slightly higher temperatures than magnesium, but for the sake of curiosity, I'm going to toss some foil in there anyway.
Psychopath.
Alright, here goes nothing.
Oh god.
Now that is like an arc furnace. Oh my goodness. Now it's time for something more challenging.
Wow, he gets
Copper
to wear
needs to be
he gets to wear protective glasses to protect him from the bright lights, but we have to see everything at full blast. Thanks very much. Thanks very much, psychopath scientist man.
So let's see how it holds up in the Macrowave.
Ah!
Oh yeah, it melted almost instantly. Now this also brings up an important point about the glass. It's actually astonishing how well these Pyrex beakers have held up to the plasma. The same cannot be said about this Pyrex bakeware. The difference is that the beakers are made from borosilicate glass, which has very low thermal expansion.
In there? Oh,
Pyrex
no.
bakeware used to be made from this as well, but has since
Don't put the Pyrex bakeware in there. The Pyrex bakeware, that's gonna make my mom cry. She cherishes her Pyrex bakeware.
been changed to tempered float glass, and its internal stress patterns are easy to see in a polariscope. This change is unfortunate for home science, but it does make for less dangerous breaks in the kitchen, as it tends to explode into tiny bits as opposed to razor shards.
Please!
Anyway, let's move up the temperature scale to some thermite. Thermite is so hard to ignite that you can buy it pre-mixed and have it shipped to you without crazy restrictions.
What is thermite?
I'm hoping this Macrowave can achieve its high ignition point. Yeet.
Ah! Gulp.
Huh, so that's what it took to break one of those beakers. It basically just exploded in there. All the iron product is dispersed in little droplets. That was fun. Although that reaction made molten iron, it was kind of cheating due to all the chemical energy released. Let's try
Was it fun, StyroPyro? Was it? His name is StyroPyro. Was it fun, sir?
directly melting some iron in the form of steel wool.
Not the steel wool! Help!
Yep, no problem.
What else can he burn? We're only halfway through the video.
There. Next on the list is titanium.
Oh no, not
this
titanium.
This stuff is quite hard to melt, but I think the Macrowave can pull it off.
Macrowave.
All right, let's melt some titanium.
I feel like I'm getting radiation poisoning just looking at this video.
That was so bright. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. Oh my.
Alright, let's take a look at the damage here. Well, it's obliterated that plate, but the titanium. Oh yeah, that melted. I can see it beat it up there. Nice.
I'm running out of metals with higher melting points. So this time I'm going to try making rubies, based on a cool video by Nighthawk and Light.
Make rubies with microwave
Okay,
plasma?
so I ran into a lot of issues with this one. But it was
He
mostly
also
due to
has a death
stupidity on
machine
my
that he
part.
calls a demon
The
circuit.
gist of this procedure
Ironmouse. StyroPyro collab when?
He has a demon circuit death machine? What?
is that you use a microwave plasma to melt an alumina-chromium mix, which yields ruby. However, for some reason, I thought Ben's procedure generated the alumina via an exotic thermite reaction between chromia and metallic aluminum. This false assumption led to a lot of broken glass and several failed shots. The funny part is that my chromia thermite still ignited with ease, which is probably even harder to pull off than making ruby.
He has
However,
some crazy
when I used
videos
alumina
with
like I was
lasers.
supposed to, I
He made a
still
laser
ran into
cannon as well as a
issues.
laser rifle. Really smart, dude.
The plasma escaped and the glass container exploded after just a couple seconds. Fortunately, this was still enough time to finally make some ruby. Thank goodness.
Oh shit.
You know, the fact that this can be done in a normal oven means I really haven't hit an impressive temperature yet. So, let's cut the fluff and move to something extreme.
What do you mean?
It's time for the metal with the highest melting point, tungsten.
Tungsten!
The melting point of this is literally thousands of degrees above anything else I've tried so far. So this one might be challenging.
Alright.
Oh my god,
For whatever
my eyes.
reason, the plasma in this beaker kept escaping confinement, so I couldn't give it a long enough zap. The wire may have burned a bit in there, but there wasn't any clear indication of melting, so I decided to give it another go on ceramic fiber. Heck. Oops, waveguide flashover. It turns out, free plasma in the oven is really bad, because it jumps back to the magnetron through the waveguide.
Uh-oh.
I used these mica waveguide covers, which buy about a half a second of plasma escapes, but this one got all crispy without me realizing it. It won't take many flashovers like this to destroy the oven. And unfortunately, this is not the first time this has happened either.
Alright, here we go. Oh!
Heck. Alright, we got a new waveguide cover.
Go.
Let's try this again.
Whoa.
That run clearly melted some of the tungsten, as you can see by the beading on the wire. How that is impressive.
He
So this
melted
Macrowave is
tungsten.
capable of melting any metal. But the thing is, I'd bet that plasma in there is substantially hotter than even tungsten's melting point. Unfortunately, there's nothing tougher that I can melt, so I can only say it's at least 3,422 degrees C.
What?
Now, something that I found is that although tungsten is the toughest metal I can throw in there, it's far from the most interesting. So to get to the point, what happens if I microwave a lithium battery? Well, embarrassingly, I couldn't get one to pop. The oven itself would flash over before anything happened to the battery. I tried cheating by using some steel
Whoa.
wool to initiate a plasma, but even then, the plasma refused to stay contained. So, I decided on a different approach. I carefully opened one up and
Uh-oh.
extracted the lithium foil inside. Macrowaving this foil gave a surprising result. That incredible red coloring is due to lithium's atomic emission spectrum. What I expected to see was maybe a few red flashes in an otherwise white plasma,
Oh, God.
simply because the temperatures are so high. The fact that the colorful spectral lines were favored opens up the possibility of all sorts of colorful plasmas. Now this brings up the question, what happens if I start chucking a bunch of weird chemicals and metals in there? Can I make a full rainbow of plasmas, at least to a Roy G. Biv approximation? Well, there's only one way to find out.
Oh no!
For the next weird metal, let's try a lump of calcium.
Calcium!
This sample is surprisingly still shiny, even though I've had it for years. I'm hoping it'll show off its orange spectral lines.
Dude just has calcium in a jar. He just has calcium in a jar. He just has calcium in a jar.
Well, that was easy, and stupidly bright as well. On to the next one. For yellow, I'm gonna zap some sodium metal.
He
For
has
reasons I'll
sodium
get into
metal.
soon, zapping the angry and highly reactive metallic form is a totally unnecessary way to see the sodium spectral colors. However, for the sake of memes, I'm gonna do it anyway. I do need to address something first though. The last time I pulled out this lump of sodium, so many of you freaked out over the quantity. Now let me tell you a little something. This little chunk right here is nothing. In fact, when I was 13 years old, I obtained 2 400-pound barrels of metallic sodium.
What did you just fucking say? I'm sorry, what? How? How did you, what? Barrels? Excuse me?
Years old.
I love how he's
This little
like, you fucking amateurs. You think this is a lot of sodium? Eat my fucking balls.
Something first though. The last time I pulled out this lump of sodium, so many of you freaked out over the quantity. Now let me tell you a little something. This little chunk right here is nothing. In fact, when I was 13 years old, I obtained 2 400-pound
Why?
barrels
For
of
what
metallic
purpose?
sodium. Now that's a story for a different day.
No!
But be assured, this ain't...
Don't! No! It's a story for today. You said it. You need to tell us the story of your barrels of sodium. I see Weens. Thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. Tell us now. Explain yourself.
ain't much. Well, anyway, yeet. I want to point out that this exact yellow color has shown up in this video several times already. And in particular...
But also, it's like, what happened to all the sodium? If you had all that barrels of sodium, what happened to it? What did you do with it?
all the times that glass
I
is
have so
broken
many
into
questions.
plasma. This is because sodium in the glass is coloring the plasma. Now, Nile Red actually has an entire video on this very
Nile
effect.
Red.
It turns out, it only...
Niall, I'm not afraid of you, Niall. I think you're a brilliant man. And Niall, I think you're incredible. I think Niall is amazing, and I think Niall is cool, and I think he's great. But this guy's psycho!
It takes a little bit of sodium to make a lot of yellow light. And this can be a blessing or a curse depending on what you're trying to do. With yellow down,
help us!
let's move on to green.
What?
I'm mixing
Roach
up some
and killer?
trimethylborate, which will hopefully show off boron's spectral colors. Since this isn't conductive on its own, I'm using a sliver of aluminum wool to initiate it. It's funny because the free boron must have been thousands of times more concentrated than sodium in there. Yet it's the sodium yellow that stuck out at first. Eventually, the boron won out though, making a nice green color. Well, green was easy enough, so how hard can blue be? I figured copper would be the element to zap, but then I remembered that when I melted it, it didn't make much blue light. But that's the thing about copper.
Very
It has to be
crispy.
tickled in just the right way before it'll spit out blue light. And
Somebody
this is
call-
why blue
get
is such
Niall
a
on the phone
challenging
right now.
fireworks. So, I tried a pyrotechnics trick and added a source of chlorine in the form of copper chloride.
Uh-oh. Gulp.
This one sucked. I was hoping for blue emission from hot molecular copper chloride, But this really only made a little bit of blue. Maybe the plasma was too hot in there. I don't know, let's try something else. Microplastics. Maybe this will provide a better form of chlorine for the copper.
Microplastic.
There were a few good flashes of blue in there, but still not what I wanted. Maybe I just need to change metals. I carefully opened up a lantern battery to extract the zinc metal casings. And what do you know? Sodium yellow. I even tried a strip of high purity zinc, and although this one briefly flashed blue, it was still the trace sodium contamination that stole the show.
I feel like I'm gonna go blind by the end of this video.
Finest. Embarrassingly, the bluest plasma I've gotten so far was actually just the aluminum foil I zapped earlier. Out of desperation, I decided to try this again in a bigger beaker, with the hopes that the higher volume would lower plasma density and favor atomic emission. Wow, all of those fancy chemicals and elements, only to be outperformed by a strip of aluminum foil. Chemistry is stupid. With blue finally down, it's time to take on indigo, and there's no better metal for indigo than indium. It's no coincidence they sound so similar, because indium was actually named after the color indigo. Why this is becomes very apparent when indium is zapped by my demon circuit, as it makes more indigo light than I've ever seen in my life.
What the fuck?
Can the same be done?
Holy shit, what the hell?
With a macrowave? Let's plasmify some indium wire and find out.
That's so cool. That's boobies fire. Wow.
Blue?
Okay, I'm not scared of you anymore.
Ah!
Blue? What?
Blue? Ah! I tried so hard to get blue earlier, and now it shows up when I don't want it. Figures. Instead of indium wire, I melted some of the metal in the bottom of a beaker, hoping that it would provide more metal to the plasma. Nope, still blue. In hindsight, the ceramic fiber base was probably poisoning the color there, but I didn't consider that before trying the next experiment. I added some indium chloride, hoping either the chlorine or preionized indium would change the color.
He has so many.
This was a big improvement, and although the plasma was a bit obscured by the smoke, I would have probably stopped here if it wasn't for the next experiment. As a side note, I should mention that while indium metal is essentially non-toxic, indium smoke is really bad to breathe in, as is ceramic fiber dust. These are one of many reasons I'm wearing a respirator. Anyway, I decided to try macrowaving some gallium crystals. Most people know gallium for its very low melting temperature, but it turns out it has a beautiful emission spectrum as well. Some crystals in the bottom of a beaker were enough to give some interesting colors, and flipping the beaker over really brought out the color.
Whoa.
And what do you know? There's the last of the colors, violet.
Oh, violet.
I didn't stop there though. I was curious what would happen if I made an alloy of gallium and indium, and then zapped that. Sure enough, a nice clear indigo started to come through.
Whoa.
After playing with ratios and settling on an alloy that was mostly indium, I created my favorite plasma of this entire project. Holy! Wow! Wow! That was perfect! That was beautiful! Yes! Yes! Ah, that was perfect!
He loved it.
Oh, so beautiful! Ah,
He made
I'm sorry.
Ironmouse fire.
Ah.
Wow.
I've made every color I wanted to and melted every element I wanted to, and I don't even want to stop here. However, this video is getting pretty long. There's still so much more I want to do with my huge magnetrons. I even made this cool Faraday helmet for some of my more cursed ideas. I should probably save those experiments for a separate video, just because I don't want to rush through them. Instead, let me try to address some questions that I just know you guys will ask about otherwise. What does it do to electronics? Well, most things I threw in there gave the same result. RAM sticks, plasma. Neon bulbs, plasma. PCBs, plasma. Christmas lights, some funny colors, but
Whoa.
mostly plasma. The only electronic device that didn't ionize was this broken calculator. But the smoke it made was essentially a chemical war crime.
Oh, God.
I tried CDs as well, but their coatings vaporized in a fraction of a second. So, what about the health risks of this contraption? Well, the real risk here isn't microwaves, it's the power supply. Now, put simply, you touch any of this stuff while it's live, you'll die instantly. But as for the tiny bit of microwaves that escape the oven, those are harmless for the same reason your Wi-Fi router is harmless. And that's because microwaves are non-ionizing radiation. Hold up. Microwaves are non-ionizing radiation? Didn't I just spend the entire video ionizing stuff with microwaves? Yes. So let me explain by briefly talking about radiation.
Okay.
Now this word scares a lot of people because they associate it with scary forms that cause cancer. But not all radiation is this way. Microwaves are a type of electromagnetic radiation. This type of radiation includes scary stuff like X-rays, as well as just light. This does not include particle radiation, like you get from some kinds of radioactive decay. Now this is where things get confusing. Ionizing radiation includes high-energy EM stuff, as well as particle radiation, and nuclear radiation falls here as well, but not all ionizing EM radiation is nuclear radiation, if that makes sense. Okay, all that considered, you may have heard that light has properties of both a particle and a wave, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, this is where the distinction of ionizing comes in. Ionizing EM radiation is where one light particle, or photon, has enough energy to strip an electron off of an atom and ionize it. Photons with this energy can mutate DNA, leading to cancer. A microwave photon is literally 1,000,000 times weaker than this threshold. Now, to be fair, a photon doesn't have to be quite at ionizing energy to be cancer-causing, as UV can still cause damaging photochemical reactions to DNA. But even this is 100,000 times
Whoa, what the fuck? On the toilet paper?
more energetic than microwaves. Then how do microwaves ionize stuff? So bear with me. I've already mentioned that microwaves are electromagnetic, which means they have an associated electric and magnetic field. Now, it's the electric field that's relevant here, and an important property about these fields is that they add up. That means that when you put enough microwaves in a small enough space, the electric field grows to the point where it can rip apart atoms and molecules on its own.
Uh-oh.
This effect is not exclusive to microwaves, and even visible light will ionize air if there's enough of it. Sticking your hand in the oven won't shoot a bunch of holes in your DNA and give you cancer. It will simply cook it like you dunked it in lava. Of course, burns only happen at huge powers. At low power, like what leaks through the oven door, those risks simply aren't there. Oh, and for the record, I did measure the microwave leakage from this, and it's so small that it's well within the legal safety limits of what's allowed to be sold for home use. It's incredibly well sealed.
Dude is just like,
Well,
guys, you see,
other than one
it's
mishap where
fine.
the tape on the door exploded and EMP'd one of my cameras. But, we don't need to worry about that. So hopefully that convinced you that microwaves are safe in small amounts. Because on an unrelated note, I now have to give you an update on my health issues.
What?
Now, before I end this video, I think I'm obligated to give you some updates on what I brought up in my last video. As a recap, I recently found out that I have just like bonkers testosterone levels, and this is concerning because I also have had these unexplained markers for liver disease going back more than 10 years. Well, since posting that video, I went through the medical ringer. I got
This is the... What?
poked and irradiated and fondled in about like every way you can imagine. And no actual disease was identified, although they still found a little bit of liver scarring on the liver biopsy. Now, even though I don't know what's wrong, this is still a pretty good result because it means that, well, it rules out a bunch of nasty diseases, but also means that whatever is wrong doesn't seem to be progressing very quickly. Now, if something changes, or if by some chance I actually solve this mystery, I'll be sure to let you guys know. Now, many of you brought up that I may have caused
I hope he's okay. I hope he's okay.
these issues due to all my experiments. And of course, I can't help but wonder that as well. I mean, maybe it shouldn't be a surprise that somebody that does what I do has, weird and unexplained disease. But you know what? I know it wasn't microwaves that caused it, or anything high voltage like Tesla coils, because I've had these disease markers since before I ever messed with that kind of stuff. Now, chemicals, or I guess technically lasers for some reason, I mean,
I
yeah,
hope you're
it's
okay,
possible.
mad scientist, man.
I like to think I've been pretty careful to limit exposures, but then again, I've been doing that stuff my whole life, so it's possible that some, small exposures added up to something. But I wonder about the reverse possibility as well. I never had my testosterone levels measured before this year, but because I don't have any symptoms of like hormone changes, there's a good chance they've always been that way. And in assuming that is true, then I wonder how much of a role did that play in my extreme hobbies? I mean, basically every activity I enjoy is dangerous, and it's been that way since I was a preteen. And considering the associations of testosterone with risk-seeking behavior, I feel like, bonkers hormone levels to start with might explain some things. So yeah, whether I caused my crazy body chemistry or whether crazy body chemistry caused me, I feel like both are about as equally likely.
Is he telling us he has a...
So that's about all I have for you today. So until the next time,
I think
stay
he's
safe and
telling us
happy
he has a lot of
microwaving.
testosterone.